Flourish, nigga. Flourish, nigga. Flourish.
And we're live. This is your main man, Kabuki Jones. Deport them. Deport them. This is Deport them podcast.
When Bashman time come fi sign up. That's what Ice be playing when they in the American made whips chasing people down. When Bashman time come fi sign up. They
Deport them.
They playing Sean Paul.
Yeah, you think Sean Paul would take that check from the Department of
Yeah.
Homeland Security? You think he would take
Absolutely.
the check to have Deport them be the official soundtrack song of ICE?
To sync license, deport them to ICE?
Yo, honestly, I feel like you'd have that would be a huge come up for Sean Paul.
That's the thing. Sean Paul's a legend, but legends do things that we don't like all the time.
Yeah, all the time. Like Afroman. You seen the Afroman shit?
Nah, what he do? He's selling bald wigs.
So Afroman, his crib got raided by the police, and they deny the fact that they stole his property and they harassed his children and accused him of kidnapping falsely, and he wasn't able to file charges type shit. So he made a song about the police, and he made like a very vulgar song about like, I think that he called a one female police officer Captain Lickumlow and like accused her of being a lesbian and like fucking all the other policemen's wives and then he also said that he fucked their wives. So
that's
he
that Chris
did
Dorner
like multiple songs that he released that now they're in court playing clips from the songs. And they're hilarious. Like, the songs are hilarious. But the reason why I even bring up Afroman is that in court, he's decked out in a full American flag suit. Like the Men's Warehouse 3-piece with American flag stars and bars on that shit.
Like in Bamboozled.
Yeah. But like also he happens to be like Trump down. Like he's like 10 toes down for Trump right now. MAGA Trump.
You need that Trump card for that pardon. You know what I'm saying? You got to get that Trump card when you need that pardon.
Yeah, no, but it didn't help him. It did not. He didn't get the pardon. He didn't get that.
He still got an afro?
Yeah, no, he wears it like fully combed out and shit. I'm sure he probably has a white wife too. First of all, I'm like,
he got the starter kit.
Have 2 white wives for all. Like, you have 3, like as many as you need to get where you need to go, brother.
Yeah, it checks that Umar Johnson's not his lawyer.
So this is code word Negus.
Wait, well, we still hashing it out. It's either code word Negus or Smart Dumb Negus. You know, we should get them to vote. But I could give them an intro. You know, people who may not. So
let them know where we at.
You know, we got the intelligentsia chair captain. We got the labia liturgist and fart joke critic, cultural icon, journalist, writer, Andrew Charles Ricketts, one of the alleged fathers of HS Tiki Taki, one of the black men accused.
Yo, HS Tiki Taki is out here for real, bro. He's out here for real. And his mom's my type, I'm not going to lie. Thank you for that rousing welcome, Cav. What we're talking about today actually is exactly on point with what you just mentioned, and it's Jack Harlow. Jack Harlow, aka the Jackman. His first album that I listened to, not his first album entirely because I don't listen to Jack Harlow music, is called Jackman, and that's his actual first name. So just chew on that for a second.
That's very hip hop meta. Just on some jacking for beats.
Yeah.
Rip the Jacker. That's very hip hop meta that he's Robble and also named like the Jackman.
Yeah, he's the Jackman. So he's jacking for beats. He's jacking for Soulquarians on this new album.
He's jacking for mulattoism. He's jacking for tragic mulattoism.
Yeah, so he's actually going to lead the next wave of Jalen's and Jaden's. So his core fan base, from what I understand, is like black suburban girls on Reddit. And he's very, very popular with black girls. And I think it's partly because he does little cutesy dog whistles, like naming his album Monica. So his latest album is called Monica, which phonetically is my nigga. And it's his way of saying, I'm going to call you a nigger to your face. That kind of play that Jack Harlow does pretty consistently, because one of his big hits last album was called Whips and Chains. So like, do with that what you will. And the start of that song is, I'm vanilla baby. I'm psycho, but I ain't no killer baby. And then the hook talks about, I don't like no whips and chains, but you can turn me on. So it's like this little, I acknowledge the fact that I'm using a whips and chains reference to degrade you and demean you, because you're slaves. Ultimately, you're slaves to me and to the music. And also, but I don't like that. Like, he's always trying to divorce himself from it. He's always giving like a little wink and a nod to, well, I'm not that kind of white.
It's like it's like Michael Jackson at the end of Thriller, like he's hugging racism.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then
he's
up,
kind of like winking,
like, nah, I'm down with racism, you know?
Yeah, then he comes through with the feline eyes and the demon smile. So with Monica, he really jumped out with Common 2003 Avatar. Like first he jumped out with like the beanie and the leather jacket. What was the movie that came out at that time with Sanaa Lathan and Taye Diggs?
Love and Hip Hop? No, not Love and Hip Hop. Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar. So he came out as White Sugar.
He had on his Jamiroquackis.
He was refined sugar in his Jamiroquackis. And he basically wanted to signal to this new generation. Now, this is a really good question. I think I would pose it to you. I don't think that we are his audience. Like, because obviously he's like a Gen Z, like a young Gen Z rapper. He came up in the post-Drake atmosphere, and he basically is focused more on viral fame and sort of like internet trolling and those subversive messages, those little subliminals. Like, he's really big on subliminals, like calling you nigger to your face. So I think
yes, very subliminal, that one.
Yeah. I mean, I think that his main audience is, like I said, it's like Redditors, like black women Redditors who date white guys in the suburbs. Like, I think he's trying to make it more traditionally acceptable to date a wigger. And I don't think, like, from when I remember Eminem, because I remember I was outside when Eminem was out. You know what I mean? Like, I was there. Like, I had the tapes. I had the Slim Shady tapes. And I was actually like low-key mad a little bit because Eminem could rap. He was one of the first white rappers who wasn't purely a gimmick. And I say that because,
well, I dare say that he made his gimmick because I had OGs that was heavily listening to Eminem, and then they put me on to Eminem, and I think the appreciation was that he wasn't trying to be a wigger. That's what it came off like. Nah, I'm gonna lean into. Oh, you're gonna make. It's a spectacle that I'm white.
Yes.
I'm gonna lean into this white accent.
Yes.
I'm gonna lean into these tales from a white vantage point of like poverty. Right.
Yes.
So we were like, oh, okay.
That's why Eminem now is a meme, because he's like, Bamityville, the Mamityville, the Bamityville. Like, people mock his enunciation as a form of respect, actually. It's like imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Eminem remaining white was a way he endeared himself to his audience long term, because he wasn't trying to trick anyone. Like, he wasn't like Remick in Sinners. You know what I mean? Like, he was like, yo, actually, no, I know I'm an outsider, and that's why I'm unique here, because I'm an outsider and I'm still using insider tools and conventions.
This might sound hater, like, and this is coming from someone who was initially in that audience that was impressed by Eminem. It doesn't age well, right?
No.
So there's the white longevity of, like you said, just choosing to lean into whiteness de facto from the beginning.
Yeah.
But then with a lot of the me type listeners, it was like, oh, he got he got bread now, so he lost his connection to that grit and that poverty. So all he is the technique, right? That we can make fun of. But it lost his gut punch. It lost the gut. Something about it became too knob. Now you like, you know, you got puppets in the video. You know what I mean? So it's a bit different.
Well, you know, like Jim Henson notwithstanding, and you're right that Eminem's performance of whiteness was always a little cheeky, but it also verged on like marketing board meeting and like, oh, now that we know his whiteness is why people buy it, let's go wholesale into whiteness. Like that was a huge part of what made M popular, and I think also makes it age poorly, like you said. So it's like the quote that I put in one essay from this Earl Sweatshirt quote about like Eminem he raps for dudes who just got home from Afghanistan and drink Mountain Dew. Like that is like it made him a staple of whiteness actually to be so heavily commercially leaned into being white. And
more than he wanted it to. Like what's old boy, Indian homie that was running for president, that's conservative. No, he wasn't running for president. The politician who used Eminem's music in his campaign.
Yes.
And Eminem hit him with a cease and desist, right? And dude is a conservative Republican. And Eminem is not Kid Rock, right? At least forward facing, right?
Right.
So it's interesting that he absolutely has become that symbol. He doesn't want to be that symbol, but then sometimes he acts like it anyway, like by dissing Melly Mel. You know, you dissing Melly Mel. Like how unhip hop is that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think also it's just whiteness coming out. Like it's the whiteness jumped out. Like that brings us back to Jack Harlow. The whiteness is always going to jump out because ultimately, if you're trying to become an insider after being an outsider and you're from the majority culture, you're going to lean on the privileges and the powers of oppression that you already have. The power of oppression, that's like every white rapper's superpower, where no matter how bad they get, no matter how drug addicted, how left to the wayside they are, they're going to use their whiteness superpower. So usually the whiteness superpower is I'll revert like Kid Rock did, right? So he reverted and he regressed into an audience that was smaller. So they would rather go when they're less skilled into an audience that is smaller but whiter, that will be more loyal, than actually like step up the musicality or the production value of their work, right? Or their art.
You could pull a JT where it looks like you're going back to your roots.
Yes. Now there's a sacrifice that comes with that though, because they
Jelly Roll blew up, right? Jelly Roll used to be kind of like, right?
Yes.
He kind of, and now I don't know much about his worldviews, but you know, he became popular in that more palatable.
Yes. And here's the thing. I think that I learned from being in the South with some poor South Carolina white boys is that country and hip hop are very, very much intertwined in the South. And in fact, not only, country is a black genre in a lot of ways anyway, but country and hip hop are so intertwined that artists like Post Malone are a natural just extension of how the white boy archetypes work in the South. Like the rural South of America has a very black and poor aesthetic, and white boys love that shit. And Machine Gun Kelly is another example. Like poverty in America is raceless. And that's actually the trick. That's the tricknology of the century, is that poverty in America, it transcends race. And it's why the music scene has always bubbled up white artists who like Jack Harlow, who like Machine Gun Kelly. They seem to traffic in black music conventions, even though they're not black. But when they become famous, that's like a mitigating factor, right? It's like a mitigating factor of their blackness. And it also allows them to tap into their superpower, which is oppression. So oftentimes when someone like a Jack Harlow bursts onto the scene and they are unsuccessful in the crossover. So let's talk about like a Bubba Sparks, for instance. Bubba Sparks when I was in Atlanta at the time and he came out, he had the bona fides from the black crowd because he had the Timberland Association. And it wasn't because he had like come up through the mixtape circuit. He was clearly like a plant. He was something that was an act at the time that they felt would appeal to a crossover audience. And so they super powered and supercharged his career and fast tracked him. But he also could rap. And so that endeared him to a wide audience because he had artistic talent. And he was from the South. So Southern lyricists were in high demand at the time. And Bubba Sparks came out with so much focus on the how do I get this R&B like ass shaking crowd that people actually slept on his album, which was really sound on a lyrical level. Like he wasn't like lyrical miracle. He wasn't Eminem, but he was like very lyrically sound. But because he was so much like, I found you, Miss New Booty. Like, I like black girls. I like some booty. He went so hard into that lane that he attracted a crowd that wasn't necessarily interested.
He tried to make country Miss Fat Booty. He made country Miss Fat Booty,
actually, because if you drop that track now in the party, that shit goes. You know what I mean? Like, he actually successfully did that.
That's how meta it is. Right, everybody in the club getting tipsy, right, as a country remix.
Yes.
The thing is, right, what I'm wondering from what you're saying too is, it's so layered on top of itself, right? Like, on one hand, you have white popularity being steeped in its like portrayal or adjacency to blackness, right?
Yes. Yeah.
That's giving it its cool factor. Like, when you remove it or you remain devoid of it in too obvious of a way, maybe in the Eminem example, right?
Yeah.
You still need a Jack Harlow. You need a Spooky Black. You need these people that have this kind of veneer. At the same time, too, there was an era where black-run labels, even though they're all distributed by the same few, but black-run labels and these type of companies were seeking out their white artists. They were seeking out their great white hype artists too, right? Like, they were seeking out their Bubba Sparkses.
Because that's long been a trick of bringing something to the commercial marketplace, right? Which is something like a racial ventriloquism. Like, I'm going to bring you Bobby Caldwell via radio. And then when you hear it in the video, even as the black listener, you're like, wait a fucking second. That's not what I expected, right?
There's a novelty factor where I think even the black audience, when we see like that little white girl can sing, like, we kind of get it.
Of course. But it is racial ventriloquism, right? It's a marketing tool because it plays on our American expectations of what races look, sound, and feel like. Now, audio, in terms of like music, in terms of an art form that you can hear, it works perfectly because of that Bobby Caldwell factor. But in the video era, which I would say Eminem is in, and Jack Harlow is in, and G-Eazy is in, and Bubba Sparks is in the video era, it's almost like you can't play that canard. You can't hold that card too tight because people eventually have to see you. That's a big part of being a famous music artist. Even is
it's like the hyper video. It's like the hyper video era now, right?
Yes.
Like, because you might be seeing them before you're hearing them. It's not like it's being broken to you in your parents' car on your drive to school. It's being broken to you, on your phone, on your device, your tablet, commercial maybe. You're seeing them and hearing them at the same time usually now, right?
It's a fact. And I mean, the only thing that maybe compares to the radio era, and this is a little bit of a tangent, is that you might go viral on a TikTok sound like a Jack Harlow would and not be visible yet, but you could very easily be visible once someone searches the sound, right? So it's like you're only an instant away from being discovered visually, and playing on the trick of this is how blackness sounds, this is how whiteness sounds. I'm going to pull the veil at some point. I'm going to pull the rug out from under you. I think that is where Jack Harlow has thrived because, for instance, Subject Matter, in his first album run, he had a song that was about NBA player Tyler Herro, who is also, he's like the wigger of the NBA, right? He's like the white boy with the fade, like I got a short earring, you know what I mean? Like that is
White Iverson, right?
Yes.
The white
exactly.
Iverson, that's the term for it. The white
exactly.
Iverson.
The white Iverson, he used the white Iverson play. There's playbooks now. You know what I mean? It's the white Iverson playbook. You know what I mean? There's all kind of, there's the Bubba Sparks playbook, Bobby Caldwell playbook, but I think Jack Harlow, because he had this, I don't want to say post race, because I think it's very obvious that he plays to his whiteness. He starred in White Men Can't Jump remake, which I don't think anybody saw. Like, first of all, the number one cardinal rule with remakes is don't remake it if it's not going to be better, and oftentimes it's worse, and that's why that rule sprouted. But he made something that was so much worse than the original that people, one, forget that it was even made, and two, don't remember what he's famous for. Like, I think that's the actual problem with Jack Harlow and trading on blackness, is he's so much more concerned with being famous than he is with making music or even making good art, that he has become almost like he's just the racial ghost now. Like, he's just the racial phantom. And the Monica play of his latest album is just like further underscoring that, because he put out like a Soulquarians album. He calls it nigga. He basically uses phonetics to call it, I'm like, my nigga, I'm a nigga now. I'm a nigga now is the album name. Then he goes in his most recent press tour to the New York Times podcast, Popcast, and talks to John Caramonica and Joe Coscarelli, great music journalists themselves, and basically says, and the funny thing about that clip, and we'll put the clip in the actual app because we want people to see it. The funny thing about that clip is that they're trying to steer him away. Like, it's almost like you can see each of the co-hosts, the journalists, being like, well, I don't know if you want to say that. Like, they're hedging it. They're trying to qualify it. But he literally says, oh, well, I'm blacker now. Like, he, and not saying, and they both say, in order to hedge him, they say, well, you went in a blacker direction, or you wanted the music to be blacker. Insert clip here, right?
John's saying you didn't retreat into a whiter genre. In fact, you arguably went deeper into
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
Deeper into
I got blacker.
Black music.
Yeah.
But I think he knows, because we're in this era of the hypervisual, as you said, that he would be clipped. And that's part of that subliminal, that like trolling, that subversive, that provocation that matters to him more than making good music. And I think...
Yeah, because now being an asshole, that's somehow revolutionary.
Yes.
Because
edgelord raps, edgelord race baiting raps.
Edgelording, it's spectacle, really.
Yes.
It's spectacle, right? It's so layered too, because is it America's continued fascination with blackness? Is it blackness's insecurity for acceptance in the larger society?
Yeah, it's all of them. It's all of the above.
You're going to get all of these type of things that you can't predict, right? You get a Jack Harlow who is also a byproduct of this, right? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the blackening terminology he overheard in executive meetings or in materials that were being circled around creatively, because I don't think that he's brilliant enough to have that type of awareness to call it that himself, right? You know
what I'm saying? Right. And that's perfect.
To know what it means, you know what I'm saying? So he's also congruent to anyone in the industry that is potentially seeking fame more than they are, being a maestro, right?
Yes. Minstrel over maestro. Like, he's gonna get much more. He's gonna get much more traction being a minstrel of whatever the art form is that makes you famous than he is for being masterful at it.
So the new minstrel show is a white guy in white blackface.
Yes, the new minstrel show is a white guy in white blackface. I think that's so. And that's the winning equation.
We do have. This is not even to what's whack about it is because then when there are people who appear more genuine in the narrative of the culture, like a Paul Wall,
yeah,
they get eclipsed by this type of novelty garbage.
Yes,
and it almost undermines when we talk about the global power of hip hop and the things that it can yield. This actually undermines that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's nothing wrong about having different types of people in the landscape, right? But when it seems like this is the winning equation, and it's such a winning equation that it's not over. It becomes such a winning equation that it has the potential to eclipse real meaning for generations of people who are introduced to the art form or what they call the genre through a Jack Harlow. And they don't have, we're losing, the things were in the cultural memory. And now it's not in the cultural memory if it didn't happen on Instagram, right? Like if it happened in the cultural memory more than 12 years ago, it's almost not in the cultural memory with a large portion of the people consuming the culture now.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I think that is the ultimate affirmative action. Jack Harlow is white DEI because he has eclipsed, to use your term, having to get better at something. He's eclipsed needing to be skilled. He actually can get through the gates just by virtue of being white, be famous for being white, be mediocre at being white in a black art form, and get more famous off his mediocrity. So I think that's the continuum that he's on, that Eminem was a big inflection point for. So Eminem had to be skilled to be white in this black art form. And that's not to say he had to be skilled to get in. He had to be skilled to last. And now Jack Harlow he only has to be mediocre in order to both get in and have a long career as a wigger. And that is the ultimate DEI, I think.
What do you think is the driving force behind that then? What is making that stick so long, that particular approach, and not the Eminem? Like, what is it about? Is it the tackiness of blackness still? Is it that we want blackness packaged in whiteness?
I think there's that. I think the internet has flattened what white people believe blackness to be. Now, it's always been something of a commercial value to have blackness. Like white people have always known that, but it was also in a black box. Like they didn't know what made it cool. Now, white people, especially like white social media managers of major brands like Wendy's and the dictionary and shit like that, they think that being black cool is using black slang, AAVE, in a way that is undetectable on social media, right? They think that black slang and astroturfing on social media, and astroturfing is just a term for when you play another race or another gender of person online. They think that that is blackness. Like they use it as a one-to-one. And before, when blackness it had mystique, it had technique, like you mentioned before. It had guts and depth and soul and struggle and pain that couldn't be quantified and it couldn't be easily reproduced. Now, the most easily reproduced part, which is, language and avatars and like the appearance of blackness, is taken as the same thing as blackness itself. And so that's why Jack Harlow, who can like dress up in the beanie and the leather jacket and they called him IRS-1, like those things, and even the memeing of him and being able to take a culturally black name and moniker like KRS-One and turn it into IRS-1, it's like, oh, that's a quick snap joke. And it gets at the heart of what Jack Harlow, wow, I almost called it Black Harlow. It gets at the heart of what Black Harlow is doing to trick you, but it also diminishes how sinister it is.
It's Justin Bieber wearing a hoodie with gold grills on.
Yes.
Versus Trayvon Martin wearing a hoodie with gold grills on.
Yeah. And first of all, you just made the AI prompt that's going to ruin TikTok for like 2 weeks. Like as soon as someone hears that, they're going to make the video that's going to be like the fucking multiracial universe harmony kumbaya TikTok that's going to actually fucking make my brain explode when I see it.
Or they're going to make George Droid.
George Droid is crazy.
Yeah, that's a whole pocket. That's a whole chamber on the internet.
Yeah. So, and I think that's part of it. Like the internet flattened it. And then also, to answer your question even more thoroughly before we wrap, is I think people demand less of art now because we are less literate. And that makes me sad. And I don't think it has to be that way or that it will be that way forever. But I think because we're less literate, because we engage with art less and we love ourselves less and therefore don't criticize each other out of love enough, we accept a lot less. And I think Jack Harlow's less is enough for so many of our young people and so many of our listeners, young or old, that it's become almost like the standard. Like if Eminem were the standard now, like even early Eminem stuff, like the unrefined Eminem baby, like infinite Eminem, if even he came out right now, it would be a marvel of skill. It would still be something that people respected because it was skilled. And the white part would be the novelty, like you mentioned before. Now, the white part is enough of the novelty that the skill doesn't matter.
The skill doesn't matter. That might be the core of it, because when Eminem came out with Infinite, he was critiqued by sounding like the black artist who inspired him.
Yeah, like a Nas.
They mentioned AZ specifically.
Yep.
And now you don't have to cite any sources, and you can pretend they didn't exist. Everything seems like it was somehow just birthed.
Yep.
Spontaneously in this vacuum.
Yep.
I think we also need to recognize that literacy comes in multiple forms.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And when I say that, when I say literate, less literate, I mean in every form less literate. We are less visually literate. We are less historically literate.
Yeah, our cultural literacy is down.
Yes.
And I don't know if I have a singular solve for that. I think I love it when my sister's kids are reacting to like Earth, Wind, and Fire songs, right? To me, that's like my sister's putting them on, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Similar or not in my opinion, similar to some of us who might be 80s, mid-80s babies, early 90s babies, your parents introducing you to certain songs through their record, CD, or tape collections,
yes.
Right? Or things they played in the car.
Yeah.
Somehow, because the thing is, like, we could blame the youth, but their parents are some of our peers or some of our...
Yeah. The youth only does what they're taught, and we are their teacher.
Yeah. So there's that, and they're also like, this is such a... No, these parameters are unseen, like unseen before. You know,
like
amount of digesting of content we even calling it content. I even think it's strange, right? So it's and now anyone can be an expert of anything, right? Anyone can sit in front of a camera, right? We talk jokingly about who we were in the beginning, but there's a recognition here while we're having this conversation because we're vetted, right? We're vetted with each other, with our peers, and we know we can provide information to back it up. So where does the fight go from there? You know what I'm saying? So I'm working on figuring out, because I think Jack Harlow is no mastermind, you know?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, the fight would have to be something like we create an avatar of me as like a white Rasta from like lower Delaware who grew up on SNAP benefits. And we use that white avatar to broadcast this message through the whitest possible medium, because that's how it would go viral. Like we become subversive on the terms that the game is played right now, which is tragic. But I feel like that's an idea. Actually, like bookmark that one.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the CIA for our applications.
First of all, well, I'm open to a PSYOP check. I'm very open to it. Same way Sean Paul is going to take that Department of Homeland Security endorsement for deport them. You know, like just like we can figure out the brand, we can figure out the terms. Like, well, if the ultimate effect is reaching the largest audience, I might be persuaded.
Flourish, nigga. Flourish, nigga. Flourish.